I am my own biggest hater. It's true. Not only did I read It Ends With Us twice, once because I had to read it on my own and to highlight everything, and the second time I read it, it was for all of you guys, for all of your enjoyment, okay? Like, I'm your little jester. But I also went to go see It Ends With Us, the movie, at 11 p.m. the other night. I paid $16. I didn't even get a fucking pretzel because they were out of pretzels, because they don't sell pretzels at 11 p.m. even though that's prime pretzel time. For you. I did that all for you. You're welcome. Thank you so much to No CD for sponsoring today's video. This may not be your first time hearing about this, but I do in fact have OCD. I actually got diagnosed during the pandemic and I did not know a lot about OCD. I only had a vision of what OCD was based off of how it is portrayed in movies and TV shows, which isn't always very accurate. I ended up going to CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. At this time, I was really struggling with really bad health anxiety. My intrusive thoughts and compulsions completely ruled my life and I had no idea about it prior to this. It affected my relationship with my family and friends so much, and I knew that I needed to do something to change this. However, I found with CBT that my symptoms were only starting to get worse. I did not feel like I was improving with my OCD. I instead felt like I was going backwards. It wasn't until a few years ago that I started going to ERP. ERP is specifically designed for OCD. OCD was created by people with OCD to bring specialized OCD care to anybody that needs it. NoCD offers effective, affordable, and convenient specialized therapy specifically for OCD. I have not been able to look back since I started ERP because of how much it has improved my symptoms with OCD. Not only do I notice it, but everyone else in my life notices it as well and has told me how much progress I really have made. My quality of life has improved. I am happier and all the people around me can clearly see that. ERP helps you sit with the discomfort, confronting the obsessions, and resisting the urge to do the compulsions. And I had never heard about it until a few years ago, and it was honestly very scary at first. I was so skeptical because of my experience with CBT, but after starting it, I realized how essential it is to my progress with treating my OCD. NoCD is a place where people with OCD can get ERP therapy that is covered by insurance. If you think you may be struggling with OCD, please go to nocd.com. Thank you, NoCD! Initially, I was like, I can't read this book, I can't watch the movie, I cannot take part in the whole It Ends With Us saga. I'm gonna have to sit this one out, guys, all right? I grew up around domestic violence. It's very triggering. I cannot stand the sound of men yelling. I get transported back in time. But then this whole like lack of self-respect thing came along, and also severe FOMO. And so here I am, making my second It Ends With Us video of the week. And I know that this may come as a shock to many of you, but the book and movie It Ends With Us is actually about domestic violence. I know that the author didn't do a great job of letting you know that, and I know that the cast didn't really do a great job of letting you know that, and I know that the press for the movie did do a great job of telling you that, but shocker, surprise. Sorry guys, this is how you had to find out. Colleen Hoover is gonna be my sleep paralysis demon tonight. I don't know if you guys knew this, but this wall is actually in my bedroom and my bed is directly across from it. So every night I fall asleep to some variation of this wall. I'm probably gonna wake up in the middle of the night and have like auditory hallucinations and hear Miss Hoover be like, and then we both laughed at our son's big balls, or something like that. We need to talk about the It Ends With Us movie cast drama, because somehow Colleen Hoover and the book became the least controversial part of this all, which I never thought I would be saying. Thank you guys so much for all of the love on the It Ends With Us read-through video that Jake and I did a few days ago. Today we are following what the hell happened with Blake Lively, the whole entire cast, Colleen Hoover, and why everyone is unfollowing Justin Baldoni. We already had Barbenheimer. How the fuck did we have It Ends With Deadpool x Wolverine? I have no idea. I have no idea how I got to this. And of course, how is Trisha Paytas involved? I'm just kidding. We're gonna actually cover that right now. I'm not gonna make you guys wait for that. So as you guys may know, Trisha Paytas was supposed to be cast as Lily Bloom. That's why she's dressed up in Lily Bloom attire right there. She was supposed to have the role of Lily Bloom. Justin Baldoni had cast her. Unfortunately, due to some scheduling conflicts, because of Trisha Paytas' pregnancy, she was unable to go through with the role. And that's why we had Blake Lively step in. So Trisha would have made a great Lily. Probably better than Blake Lively. A very brief rundown on the entire story because it seems like most of the cast has forgotten it, and I feel like it's very essential to know about it, to understand this drama. If you would like to hear the whole scope of everything, you can watch our video. Blake Lively plays Lily Blossom Bloom, who owns a flower shop. No, I'm not fucking with you. She is obsessed with Ellen DeGeneres and writes to her. She just has a whole diary of letters to Ellen DeGeneres, and we have to read them. Lily falls in love with a neurosurgeon named Ryle Kincaid. You know the shock that I felt in the movie theater when he said Kincaid and not Kincaid? Kincaid? Stupid. So fucking stupid. I would say sorry to anybody whose last name is Kincaid, but I know nobody's last name is Kincaid, okay? Anyway, Ryle is played by Justin Baldoni. They met because they met on a rooftop while Ryle was literally getting riled up and being physically aggressive towards a chair, like literally kicking the shit out of a chair. I have never seen Justin Baldoni in anything because I cannot get over my fear of cryptic pregnancies, so I will not be watching Jane the Virgin for him. In the story, not only is he emotionally and romantically unavailable, but he's pathetic. He just keeps repeating to Lily Blossom Bloom, like, I wanna fuck you, I wanna fuck you, I wanna fuck you, like any given chance. At one point, he like crawls to her house while he's still in scrubs and just got off of a 48-hour shift, and like his scrubs are covered in C. diff, is begging on his hands and knees for Lily Blossom Bloom to fuck him. Just once, just please, Lily. Anyway, they start dating, and he gets physically abusive. And then they get married, and he's still physically abusive. Now, Lily is already traumatized by her father being physically abusive to her mom growing up, and she tries to reassure herself, like, this is not the same situation as my parents. She tries to justify the relationship, she tries to justify his abuse. Now, in the words of Lily Blossom Bloom, the first man that she ever had sex with was a homeless man, but in the movie, she says, an unhoused man, or maybe a man experiencing houselessness. I'm not joking. And his name is Atlas, and he reappears in her life and encourages her to leave Ryle. Lily finally reaches a breaking point with Ryle after a very abusive attack. She finds safety with Atlas. However, she does find out that she's pregnant with Ryle's baby. She ends up having this baby. She ends up naming it Ellen after Ellen DeGeneres. I'm just kidding. It's worse. She gives the child the middle name Dory after Dory from Finding Nemo. Anyway, she then tells Ryle that she wants a divorce right after giving birth, and she tells her baby, it ends with us. The cycle of abuse ends with us. The whole entire story is about breaking the cycle of generational trauma, but also how just because you have experienced it firsthand and you are this strong, powerful, independent woman, that does not suddenly mean that you are immune to getting abused. Because guess what? None of us are immune to it. The book has cringy elements, okay? I don't think it always has the best writing. It's problematic in some ways. There's no reason for young Lily Blossom Bloom to be 15 and this guy who she's sleeping with being 18. No need for it. It's definitely an interesting and captivating story, and I completely understand how somebody could like it. And I respect it for the fact that it has 100% definitely helped people who are in DV situations. I am gonna have to censor some words because I do not want this video to get age restricted, because I do find it's very important that young people still watch this video. YouTube is very, very picky about that kind of stuff. And I respect Colleen Hoover for writing this book because it's going to keep making a difference in people's lives who are going through DV situations and either may not know it or may not have the strength to leave that relationship just yet. Especially with its mainstream success being such a popular book and then now a movie with like extremely famous actors. I think it's going to do a lot of good. And for that, I really applaud Miss Colleen Hoover, and I will give her flowers just this once. Now, this topic hits very, very, very close to home for me, okay? I would not wish growing up in a house with domestic abuse upon anybody. Just like Lily, I have no relationship with my father because he was guilty of domestic violence. Just like Lily, I fell down the generational cycle of abuse. I too was not immune to being abused, even though I saw it firsthand since I was a kid. I am like Lily in so many ways. And I know that there's gonna be people watching this movie, reading this book, or even watching this video who relate to Lily a whole fucking lot. What I do think is actually diabolical though is how this movie's press is going. How this movie is being advertised. Why is this movie being advertised as a rom-com? Why are their viewers encouraged to go put on their florals and go with their girlies to the theaters?
Ends With Us is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals.
What is up with this like uppity and light mood that we are setting the tone for this film? Why are we saying that there's hot guys and hot girls and that it's romantic and it has crying and it has everything that you could want in a movie?
It's fun, it's romance, there's hot guys, there's hot...
Why are we skimming over the DV and all of the advertisements for this movie, thus making people who are going to the theaters for this completely blindsided by what they're about to see? Why is there no redirection to the audience for where they can go to for help if they're struggling with DV? Why the fuck are we promoting a hair care brand right now? Why are we cross-promoting with Deadpool and Wolverine? And why is Justin Baldoni, the director and producer of the movie, not even at any of the interviews or seen photographed with any of the people from the movie. Okay, let's go back in time real quick. Justin Baldoni had picked up the book It Ends With Us to be turned into a movie in 2019. The book was initially published in 2016. So Justin and his production company have been working on this for 5 years now. Justin is known to have a podcast called Man Enough. Man Enough is reframing masculinity, building a movement around healthy manhood and greater equality for all. Man Enough is a movement founded on the belief that undefining traditional roles and traits of masculinity, men will be able to realize their potential as humans and their capacity for connection. He also has several books about this topic, like Man Enough, Undefining My Masculinity, as well as Boys Will Be Human, a real gut check guide to becoming the strongest, kindest, bravest person you can be. Clearly, this is a passion project for Justin, so him picking up a book like It Ends With Us is no surprise. And the fact that he was playing the main character, the literal antagonist of it all, as well as the director, it was a lot. It's a lot, but it makes complete sense for what it seems like he is passionate about. Now, in January 2023, it was announced that Blake Lively was going to be cast as Lily Blossom Bloom. She also was really passionate about being an executive producer for this film. Now, the movie was mainly shot in Hoboken, New Jersey. Throughout the last year, I've seen on social media people posting videos and photos of the set and them recording and filming the movie.
Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni films It Ends With Us in New Jersey.
The main criticisms for this all is like, oh my god, I can't believe that this Colleen Hoover book is being turned into a movie. But also, what the fuck were Blake Lively's outfits? Mainly just people being like, this is not the Lily Bloom that we had imagined in our head. But that was the main criticisms of this all. Now, in May 2024, we have Justin Baldoni and Colleen Hoover doing press arm in arm.
Colleen, the beauty of me reading the book after knowing the casting is you can start to visualize a little bit, you know, what it could look like, what these characters look like.
She had given her trust into his hands for him to handle this movie with his discretion and his care. Because at the end of the day, Colleen Hoover still had a say in this movie and how things were run. That is not the case for all movies that were books originally, but in this case, Colleen Hoover got to be hands-on with the movie. Now, the movie was released August 9th, 2024, and when the premiering and the press started for the movie last week, a lot of people had seen some red flags. People started to notice that Justin Baldoni was doing all of his press separately. He wasn't photographed with the rest of the cast, and the cast started dodging questions about him. When Jenny Slate, who plays Justin Baldoni's character's sister, when she was asked what it was like working with Justin as the director, she completely skimmed by the question, answered it in her own way.
Talk to me, what was that like, having him be director but also scene partner?
I mean, what an intense job. Like to have to do so many things. I just found myself being like, wow, I really just want to have one job at once.
When you try to find photos of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni together, other than being in the movie together, you can't find shit. And this is where speculation started to be led that there was some sort of feud happening between Blake and Ryan Reynolds versus Justin Baldoni. Throughout the last few weeks, Ryan Reynolds has been seen with the cast and photographed with them at the premiere, even his co-star Hugh Jackman in photos with the cast, but notably never Baldoni, who was only ever pictured with his wife Emily Baldoni. So something that we didn't find out until recently is that Ryan Reynolds was involved in the production of It Ends With Us. At the New York City premiere on August 6th, Lively revealed to E! News that it was Reynolds who wrote the iconic rooftop scene between Lily and Ryle, and that she and her husband often work on each other's projects, saying, he works on everything I do, I work on everything he does. So his wins, his celebrations are mine, and mine are his. This raised a lot of eyebrows for multiple reasons. First of all, the film screenwriter and co-producer Christy Hall later added that she was unaware that Reynolds changed the script until after It Ends With Us was released, but went on to praise him, saying, no one makes a movie by themselves, so it takes hundreds of people to create a village to surround this thing, and everyone gives it what they can. Some people online have pointed out how shady this was for Ryan Reynolds to be involved and rewrite this scene because we were in a writer's strike. The only reason any film production was allowed to film was that the scripts had to be locked in. No edits could be added. By Blake admitting that her husband helped rewrite this scene indicates that they rewrote this scene during the strike. This was basically a big fuck you to all the writers on strike who were trying to fight for a livable wage, because Ryan Reynolds went in there and rewrote it like it was nothing, taking a job away from a different writer. Sources also start to state that the differences creatively between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni were so significant that there were two entirely different cuts of the film, which is not unheard of. There are sometimes multiple cuts of a film in the editing process. Lively allegedly commissioned a cut of It Ends With Us from Shane Reed, the co-editor of Deadpool and Wolverine, Ryan Reynolds movie, who also edited the Taylor Swift music video for I Bet You Think About Me that Lively directed in 2021. Reed is not officially listed as an editor of the film, which is credited to Una Flaherty and Rob Sullivan, so it's unclear how much, if any, of this cut made it into the final product. This is the final movie poster that we had gotten. There's a completely separate one on Justin Baldoni's Instagram page that still lives there. That has a much different vibe than this movie poster that reads, "We break the pattern or the pattern breaks us." People quickly start to see that there is quite a difference with how both of the main characters were portraying what this film was really about. Like I said, Lily Blossom Bloom owns a flower shop. That's a big part of the movie, flowers. It's been reported that Blake wore florals to her crossover event with her drinks company, Betty Buzz, which she tied into the movie with a Betty Blooms theme, where she captioned an Instagram post, "When your company throws a florist theme party for your movie." Blake also relieved her own hair care line amid the promotion of the movie, called Blake Brown, sold at Target. You can't forget it because of how often it's mentioned. You basically can't scroll on TikTok without seeing like Blake Lively, like zhuzh up some girl's hair, spray it, make it like really voluminous. That's awesome. Are we still talking about a movie about DV? Another key part of Blake Lively's press for It Ends With Us has been discussing her husband, Ryan Reynolds. She has kind of been bringing him up any chance that she gets, midst of an interview, literally saying, Deadpool Wolverine sold out, by getting distracted by a sign in the background.
Why is Deadpool Wolverine sold out? I'm sorry, I got distracted back there.
Ryan Reynolds also appeared in a skit where he was jokingly interviewing Blake Lively's other co-host, who plays Atlas, Brandon Sklenner.
How do you explain that? You have some sort of like low-angle squat routine to pop that region in that way? I mean, what's going on here, man?
Blake posted a promotional video on her Instagram with Brandon where they make hot chocolate cookies from the movie.
Hi. I'm Brandon.
I'm Blake.
And I'm Teeny.
And this is Teeny.
Yes.
So we're making the hot chocolate cookies that Atlas makes for young Lily.
She also shared a lighthearted girl talk video onto her Instagram with other female creatives from the movie.
Welcome to my apartment. We're in my living room, my real life living room. I'm Blake Lively.
I'm Jenny Slate.
I'm Colleen Hoover. And I'm Isabella Ferrer.
Adding in the caption, "I'm gonna be sad when marketing is over and I don't have excuses to sit on my couch dressed up with you ladies." Now this has been difficult for some people who have been long-term fans of Blake Lively, really have been big fans of It Ends With Us, the meaning behind it, if they themselves are DV survivors or know somebody who is. It has just really, really upset a lot of people because to me also, it does seem a little bit off. The lack of talking about DV relationships, the lack of conversations about resources, the floweriness of this whole entire campaign, and kind of trying to paint this movie as more so about Lily and who she is as a woman and how she's a multifaceted woman and how she's more than just abuse.
I didn't look at any one thing in her life because I think she's so much more than this thing that happened to her.
Which granted, yes, she absolutely is. However, the movie is about breaking generational cycles of abuse. That is the point of it. It doesn't seem like anybody else on the cast or production of the movie is talking about that except for Justin Baldoni. His current Instagram bio directly links to No More, an anti-domestic abuse nonprofit that was the charitable partner of the movie. Other than Justin, No More is not really talked about by other people in the cast. Justin worked with them in his depiction of violence in the movie and has sported their pin alongside tagging them in numerous other posts. Speaking about the abuse has been the focus of Justin's press. He says, "The message is the most important thing. That's why Colleen wrote the book. I was always thinking about the outcome and the why and the one woman I was making this for and who would sit in that theater and maybe not go back to her abusive relationship." The question that's always asked is, why did she stay? That's the wrong question. What we need to be asking ourselves is, why do men harm? This is not an easy story to tell, and yet it was profoundly important. I've learned so much. As of today, Blake has shared to her Instagram a BBC interview clip from a London screening of the movie last week onto her Instagram story.
This movie covers domestic violence, but what's important about this film is that she is not just a survivor and she's not just a victim. And while those are huge things to be, they're not her identity.
And she also posted her Instagram saying, "Thank you to everyone who came out to show that people want to see films about women and the multitudes we hold. It Ends With Us is a story of the female experience, all the highest highs and the lowest lows. We have been in celebration of this film and of getting a message so important out there to the masses." However, this comes all after a lot of criticism in the last few days for how Blake Lively has been handling questions about the movie and the topic. There was one specific question that an interviewer had that maybe there are going to be people who come up to Blake and have been victims of domestic violence and want to talk to her about their experience and how much this movie meant to them and how she recommends they, approach this topic. To which Blake made a joke out of it and was like, what do you want? Like, my location? You want to track me on my phone? You want to get my house address? In which Brandon Sklenar looks very uncomfortable in a lot of these interviews, just kind of sitting on the sidelines, seemingly thinking what the fuck is going on right now?
So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Asking for my address or my phone number or my location share. Or I could just location share you and then we could,
It just honestly felt off. It almost felt like she didn't get the full message and meaning behind this movie, which is so hard to believe when you had to play such an immensely difficult character like Lily Bloom, and the scenes in there are not easy. The scenes in the movie are very triggering. Scenes in the movie are very, very intense. I will say they cut out a lot of intense scenes that were in the book, which genuinely I am a bit happy that they did, not because of triggering reasons, but because I'm happy that there are going to be people who go to the theaters and are able to see, oh, it doesn't have to get to the point of, my husband headbutting me in order for this to be very bad abuse. I worry that if they showed all of the scenes of the physical abuse that was in the book, that people in the theaters could sit there and watch it and say, well, it's not that bad for me. It never got to that point. It never got that bad. Because they kind of tamed it down a little bit, which was still very awful physical abuse, do not get me wrong, makes me feel a bit more at peace that there are going to be people in the theater sitting there and relating to some of these instances and being like, oh yeah, that's bad. That's enough. Even just that is bad enough. It doesn't have to get to the extreme level in which it was in the book for it to be serious. It's still serious just at this level. I hope that makes sense, what I'm trying to get across. I want this movie to positively impact as many people as possible. And I don't want anyone sitting in the theater being like, well, at least it's not that bad, I don't have it that bad, so it's definitely not abuse. In a recent interview with Today, Baldoni spoke about his collaborative approach to directing It Ends With Us, saying, every movie is a miracle, and then, of course, you're navigating complex personalities and trying to get everybody on the same page with the same vision. And mistakes are always made, and then you figure out how to move past them. People were like, oh yeah, he's definitely talking about Blake. He has to be. Although nothing directly has been negatively said by either of them about each other, Baldoni still speaks highly of Blake Lively and Colleen Hoover, calling Blake a genius and that everything that she touched, she made better. He was congratulated on the night of the premiere and told that this was his big night, where he said, no, it was a night for all the women that this movie was made for, including a night for Blake and for Colleen. However, despite praising her, when asked by Us Weekly whether he'd be directing and starring in the sequel, Baldoni responded, I think there are better people for that one. I think Blake Lively is ready to direct. That's what I think.
We do have It Starts With Us, so I'm hoping to see you back in the double duty role.
I think there are better people for that one.
Justin.
I think Blake Lively's ready to direct. That's what I think.
So. Blake would. Is that something that you would entertain?
There is a sequel to It Ends With Us. It's called It Starts With Us. Multiple unnamed industry sources have told Page Six that Baldoni made Lively uncomfortable on set and overall created an extremely difficult atmosphere for everyone involved. There seems to be a very clear divide in the cast, where it seems like most of the cast is on Blake Lively and Colleen's side, whereas Baldoni is off doing his own thing. So he still follows the cast and still follows Blake and Colleen. However, they have unfollowed him or do not follow him back. A set source recently told People all is not what it seems. There is much more to this story. The principal cast and author Colleen Hoover will have nothing to do with him. And reps for Lively and Baldoni did not respond to People's requests for comment. However, reports of the alleged behavior of Baldoni started August 9th, when the Daily Mail published a report saying Baldoni was chauvinistic and borderline abusive on the set of It Ends With Us. As of today, when I am uploading this, TMZ has reported that Blake Lively felt that the kissing scene with Justin Baldoni lingered for too long and feels that he fat-shamed her. Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ there was a scene in which Justin lifts Blake into the air. According to our sources, Justin has a history of back problems. He went to his on-set trainer and asked how much she weighed and how he could train to protect his back from injury. Blake later found out about Justin's comment and felt that he fat-shamed her. We're told this comment really bothered Blake, who gave birth to her and her husband Reynolds' fourth child in February 2023. I don't think that this is gonna end anytime soon. Like, I feel like there's just gonna be so many more updates after this video is live. So now Blake has openly talked about how she has had a say in the direction of the wardrobe, the music. People have compared her a lot in the last few days to J-Lo, saying that she has become very unlikable, using a lot of I statements, a lot of me statements. She even referred to herself as somebody who fixes others' crowns.
It was like, someone on social media is calling you a crown straightener. I said, what's that? She said, a woman who goes around straightening other women's crowns.
Now, there is a video that is floating around from behind the scenes in which Blake was teaching Justin how to pull her in to then kiss her. When this was brought up in an interview, Blake was like, where did you see this video? Where did you see this? And Colleen even said like, oh yes, I saw this as well.
You were teaching Justin how to pull you in.
Where have you seen
this?
I actually just saw it too.
Blake had made a note that she should not be acting like an intimacy coordinator, that should not be happening. However, they did hire intimacy coordinators.
Sometimes you were even the intimacy coordinator in some of those sexier scenes. Like we saw you.
That shouldn't be happening, by the way.
There's other clips shot by witnesses that shows Blake outside of a Hoboken, New Jersey restaurant looking visibly annoyed at Justin. And Justin was directing in that particular scene, not acting alongside with her. TMZ reported that they were like thick in some on-set drama. I don't want to take these behind the scenes videos too seriously. We don't know the dynamic of what it was like on set. We have absolutely no idea. We were not there. We have no idea what anything is like. It is clear though, there is some tension that is happening. And there's obviously some sort of shift and uncomfortability with the cast. Now, as of today, August 13th, it is important to note that Justin Baldoni hires crisis PR veteran. The director and star has retained the services of Melissa Nathan, who represented Johnny Depp during the Amber Heard trial. The hiring of the agency group comes as Baldoni has been the subject of negative headlines over allegations that he made Lively uncomfortable on set. I want there to be nuance with this all. We obviously do not know what had happened behind the scenes, and I genuinely don't think that we will ever truly find out what happened behind the scenes. Whether it was a toxic workplace or not, whether there was disagreements, uncomfortability, tension, we will probably never know the true answer of it all, because filming did not just happen in one day. It took place for a very long time. I know it's very easy right now to be like, I'm team this person, I'm team that person. I think it's important to look at the greater scheme of things. And also, it's fair to say that all of the drama with the cast has completely overshadowed the meaning of what the book was supposed to be all about and what the movie was supposed to be all about. I think it's very important that this movie had come out. I think there's definitely flaws in it, obviously. I think they did a great job at romanticizing the abuse in the beginning of the movie. Yes. You see everything with rose-colored glasses. You make excuses for this abuser. You excuse the abuse as accidents. The movie intentionally confuses you and gaslights you because that is genuinely what it feels like to be in one of these situations. Yeah, he's beautiful and he's sexy and hot and does really nice things, and he's rich and he's a neurosurgeon. That's awesome. And guess what? He's still an abuser at the end of the day. He still did awful and abusive things. And it all happens so fast, and then they shower you with love after and then make you believe that it was all your fault, and the cycle continues. And so many people are trapped in this situation and have no idea. And I think that is much more important than all of this. This movie is a lot greater than any of these people involved. I respect Justin Baldoni a lot for how he is talking about this in press and in interviews, and it seems like this is the takeaway that Justin Baldoni was hoping for. There is a real possibility that he was being chauvinistic. There are plenty of men in this world who claim that they are feminists and claim that they are advocates for women for their own personal gain. I'm not saying that's what he is, but there are people like that out there. A friend of mine went to the premiere in New York City and said that they were giving out a lot of flowers at the premiere, so much so that she came home with like a whole bouquet of flowers. And at the end of the night, her thoughts were, imagine if they saved all the money that they spent on all of these flowers, and what if they actually donated to causes that benefited DV victims. Imagine the good that that money could have been spent on. I'm not entirely pleased with the press. I'm not entirely pleased with promoting hair care and alcoholic beverages. You know, I'm not entirely pleased with it all. I'm not. That's just my honest opinion. But I will be donating a portion of today's sponsor to Women Against Abuse. It's a nonprofit here in Philadelphia. I'm gonna drop a link if you guys wanna donate as well. If you're someone that you know is in immediate danger as a result of DV, call 911 for anonymous confidential help. You can call the 24/7 National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or chat with an advocate via the website. And that's that on that. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, please make sure that you leave it a like, because it helps me out so much. Also, leave a comment. Have you seen the movie? Have you read the book? What are your thoughts on this all? Make sure that you subscribe if you want to be nasty. If not, you're disgusting. Also, make sure you have your bell notifications on so you know every single time I post. Also, we're a gross podcast that comes out every other Monday. If you want to follow me on my other social media, Instagram, Twitter, Depop, Spotify, it's just Nicole, Rafiee. And if you want to follow me on my TikTok, it's at Nikki Nasty. I'm gonna go now. It's late. I'm gonna go to sleep, and I can't wait to see who my little sleep paralysis demon is gonna be tonight. Colleen Hoover, Trisha Paytas as Lily Blossom Bloom, or Ellen DeGeneres. I genuinely feel like Trisha Paytas as Lily Blossom Bloom is my safest option. So bye.